All right, of course. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Victorious Ones podcast, the place where gaming meets comics, meets sports, as well as movies. And of course, I am your host, King Vaughn Jr. And of course, you can see I'm wearing my Undertaker shirt. You know what I mean? So, even though I don't really celebrate Halloween like that, but, for those that do, for those of you out there that are, like, big on that, hope you enjoyed your candy and everything like that. And as far as that, other than that, I know yesterday, full disclosure, my church had had a harvest festival. You know what I mean? So of course I was definitely involved with that. So, but like I said, hope everyone, had a great time, and we're safe out here in these streets because there ain't no game. But it's a whole another story for a whole another day. But of course, for those that want to follow me on social media, of course I'm on Twitter at 301 King Von Jr. And of course I'm on Instagram at Mr. King Von Jr. If you want to follow the show's Twitter page is at Victory Pod One, and also on Instagram at Victorious Ones Podcast. I'm also a social media producer for the Unpopular Reviews wrestling show Perfect Plex Talk Radio, hosted by Mike Knox. On of course on Mondays at 6 p.m. And so yeah, and so of course I want to like I said, of course I was saying last week I had a great interview. Of course, as you've seen recently with Black Wrestling, of course we talked all things wrestling, hip hop. That was the largest body of our conversation, as well as a few comic comparisons, dive into the top 50 greatest wrestlers, things like that. And so, like I said, it was absolutely a pleasure, to finally be able to chat with them. You know what I mean? And so, so I'm thankful for for all that they do when it comes to spotlighting, spotlighting Black wrestling. You know what I mean? Whether it's in WWE, AEW, TNA now, TNA. That's right. By the way, I want to get back to that in a minute. Like I said, TNA, the Indies, you name it. You know what I mean? Like that's what the BRP 50s for. So whether it's whether it's Bianca Belair's, Trish Dora's, you know what I mean? So on and so forth, whoever else whoever else you want to name, like seeing Carmelo Hayes, Ricky Starks, Omos, you name it, all up and down the board. You know what I mean? The BRP 50 spotlights the best of the best, and their list is certainly better than that BW 500 that I'm not going to. But yeah, you know what I mean. Like I said, it was certainly a great conversation. But also, before I get ahead of myself, a comparison that I completely forgot to mention, as far as about, just to add to that, I would say if you were to compare wrestling factions, I would say DX would be your Run DMC. What I mean by that is I'm just getting this off my chest real quick, just to add to last week's conversation. But hey, it's my podcast, so I can go ahead and do that. But yeah, like I said, as far as that, I would say that DX would have to be Run DMC. The reason why I say that is especially the original DX, the original three, the trio, in the sense that Shawn Michaels would be Run, the face of the group, the voice of the group, and just the one that's front and center. Triple H would be DMC, of course, like I said, great 1-2 punch, like complements him very well. And China would be Jam Master Jay, someone who's silent, but at the same time they're, they have a profound impact. You cannot, you cannot talk about that group, you cannot mention that group without them. You know what I mean? And something like that, they're very integral to their respective groups, their respective factions. And so, of course, they're both, each of them are pioneers, and trendsetters, of course, in their own right. You know what I mean? So that's the reason why I use those comparisons out there. But yeah, like I say, of course, with all that out of the way, I definitely want to get into the week. Like I said, I definitely want to get into the week in wrestling. And of course, this past Friday, on SmackDown, Of course, Roman Reigns had his face off with LA Knight as he did the contract signing for this Saturday's Money in the Bank. The WWE Universal Championship, whatever. For the like I said, at looks at Money in the Bank, and so of course, LA Knight made sure to LA Knight made sure to bring his A game, make sure to bring his best. Like I said, when it comes to promos, so that we can be more invested, so we can be more, like I say, so they can be, so we can truly believe that this guy is, like an absolute, truly credible opponent, for the tribal chief. Even though I firmly believe, spoiler alert, I'm definitely picking Roman to win. And I haven't gotten to, I'm far from, so like I said, I'm far from doing, my predictions. Yeah, but of course, this is definitely going to be a prediction show. Like special edition, like a special edition of the predictions episode. And of course, before I go any further, for those that for those that want to follow on YouTube, for those that want to subscribe and like for more of our content, go to youtube.com/@VonRestJr. You know what I mean? So of course, certainly last week's last week's episode definitely had a great impact. In that sense, like I said, of course, youtube.com/@VonRestJr. Like I said, make sure to like, subscribe for more of this content, and of course, of course, in the description, I'm gonna have, like I said, I'm gonna have last week's interview along with the other interviews as well. Like I said, of course, and of course, when it comes to LA Knight, I was, certainly had a conversation about this on Monday. Like I said, this past Monday, on the Perfect Plex, on the Perfect Plex show, in the sense that LA Knight certainly put Roman Reigns on notice during the contract signing, and so you know what I mean. So of course, when you're face to face with someone who's a legendary figure, who's the franchise star of the company like Roman Reigns, whether you're LA Knight or Cody, whoever else it is, you are forced to raise your, like I said, forced to raise your game, to raise your style of play, and to raise your game in the ring, raise your game on the microphone, and so of course, so LA Knight certainly did that in the area that he knows best, which is on the mic, and what I mean, like I said, so far he's made himself more presentable, more credible. It's all about presenting yourself. It's all about making yourself more respected, not only with your opponent, but also especially in the eyes of the fans. And I certainly believe that. So like I said, I certainly believe that LA Knight, so he certainly proved himself in more ways than one. And so, if anything that was perhaps that was more so of my biggest takeaway when it came to this past Friday's episode of SmackDown. And so, what I mean. So like I said, but also at the same time, like I said, even though I still have Roman winning, I still have Roman winning, but at the same time, I think that LA Knight, I think that Roman, the way like Roman's style in the ring is more so a story is more of a storytelling, psychology, pace of wrestling, right? So so because of that, he's going to find a way to make his opponent look stronger. Make his opponent look, make his opponent look more of a threat. Hence, look last year's match with Logan Paul. You know what I mean? And so it was certainly, I guess you could say, sort of like a hidden gem, or something that really sort of like took a lot of us by surprise. And I see this match with LA Knight on Saturday being no different. You know what I mean? And even though Logan Paul is certainly far more dynamic in the ring from an aerial standpoint than somebody like LA Knight, but still, you know what I mean. So it's so as far as that, well, it says Roman needs to go. LA Knight, I hope is going. Let me see. And by the way, if you're those are Facebook users, please make sure you're going StreamYard and allow Mark Zuckerberg, to see your, to show your identity, show your name. And so it says, Facebook user says Roman needs to go. LA Knight, I hope is going to win. I wouldn't necessarily say that that Roman needs to go. I think it's more so a point now in Roman's reign, pun intended, in Roman's reign where he's starting to sort of like run out of opponents at this point. And so now it's just like now it's just at a point where it's just like you just take whatever is available, but so like I said, Superstar, like I said, I think it's got to a point where it was just like you really have to like I said, you really have to take what's given to you, take what's available and make the most out of that situation, make the most out of that opponent. And I firmly believe that Roman is in that place right now. Now, when it comes to see that's more so pretty much like the main focus for me. Like I said, the main focus for me when it comes to SmackDown side, and also he's been so negative, and I think he is not worth his. Wow, this is so like I said, I think it's certainly a very strong take on someone who is not exactly not exactly Roman's biggest fan, and so it's just like and of course, like I said, Roman is that that generational talent as far as a heel. I've said it time and time again. I feel as though Roman has found ways to redefine what it means to be a heel. He's a heel that is so cool that he's become popular. You know what I mean? Like he's a heel that has developed a major following. He's a heel that has shown that he has what it takes to carry the company, and carry the brand. And so, in the sense that I think it's a big reason why I've recently compared him to the Injustice version of Superman. You know what I mean? If you want to compare him to Dark Side, whatever the case may be, but at the same time, just like Roman had his discovery that since he couldn't win people over as a babyface, quote unquote, as John Cena Jr. is just like, you know what, let me go and just turn this thing upside down and add my own spin to it. And so now because of that, because he's embraced that quote unquote dark side, empire, kind of like become the leader of the empire type of thing. That that now all of a sudden, so he's reached his pinnacle, he's reached the top of his game. You know what I mean? So so as far as that, now I would say that that Roman can be a gaslighter, he can be a manipulator. He like I say, he can definitely bring those, like have those display those type of elements of his character that that gets people to where people can't stand him. But at the same time, I'm not saying that he's on this guy's level, but at the same time, when you look at someone like Triple H, he's seen him as a legend, and I'm sure many of us remember, can remember the Triple H reign of terror. But he could be a better role model than when the kids are watching. Yeah, true. He could. And the thing is, like I said, I'm not going to completely continue to extend this topic even more. But but at the same time, I think that's true. He could be a better John Cena type of role. But the thing about it was that because he tried to fit in those Cena shoes, and at the time it really wasn't working. And I don't and I hope you don't take this the wrong way, but I feel as though if you want someone to be that John Cena ambassador type of role, I firmly believe that Bianca Belair has fit has fit that role perfectly. You know what I mean? So if there's anybody that's going to be, like I said, if there's anyone who can truly carry that torch from John Cena when it comes to being the role model, when it comes to, like I said, when it comes to being an ambassador, the true face of the company type of thing. Yeah, definitely. You know what I mean? And so, if the thing about it is that even if you don't see it in Roman, that's what Bianca's for. And and as a matter of fact, I'm going to turn my focus to Bianca. And of course, for those that saw on SmackDown this past week, how she's become the number one contender, and is going to challenge Io Sky for the WWE Women's Championship on Saturday. And, of course on Saturday at Crown Jewel. And of course, if you pay attention, if for those that pay attention to detail, if you look carefully at Bianca's gear, if you notice she had a lot of jewels in her outfit, which is symbolic of Crown Jewel and how she's looking forward to recapturing the women's championship. It's going to be tough, but I hope she wins. You know what I mean? Certainly that too. And of course, I look forward to seeing, looking forward to seeing, seeing things like I said, manifest more so when it comes to the road to WrestleMania with Bianca versus Charlotte. You know what I mean? Because of the fact that Charlotte is the one horsewoman that Bianca has not had a pinfall victory over in a championship match. So people talk about, people talk about Cody Rhodes completing their story. The story that I'm looking forward to is the Bianca story. When it comes to Bianca, being able to beat all four of the horsewomen. Like I said, story of Bianca versus Jade. Those type of stories I want to see finished. So like I said, of course, like I said, I definitely look forward. Especially when it comes to the women's matches. I think I think that those are certainly going to be special. I think that those are going to be very epic in more ways than one. And so of course, speaking of like I said, of course, speaking of the women, of course, when we look on the other end, on Raw, as far as Rhea Ripley being the Raw women's champion, or not Raw women's champion, but the women's world champion, like with the big gold belt, basically, but for the women's division. And so of course, Rhea certainly has her hands full, and I know that the biggest criticism for Rhea for a while early on in her reign was the fact that she had not, the biggest criticism for her was the fact that she was not interacting enough with the women's division, because the fact that so much of her time and attention was focused on everything pertaining to the Judgment Day. But now WWE has found a way to turn that narrative on its head. So to the point where now she's going to have a fatal five-way match, not fatal four-way, but five-way match. So WWE listened and they answered. So the thing was, oh, you want Rhea more involved with the women? Well, here you go. Guess what? Now she's gonna be, it's gonna be 1-on-4, and so. Says, I hope the twins one day can reunite without having all this ugliness going on, because they're brothers for life. Yeah, as far as themselves, so for that, as far as that, I'll say it like this: I don't think that they're going to. Like the thing is, I don't think that they're going to be separate for that long. You know what I mean? So just because they're so synonymous, um, as a legendary tag team and things like that. So you know what I mean? I think that they're just doing this up until the time that this whole bloodline saga and stuff is officially over once and for all. You know what I mean? So as far as that, like I said, just like I said, I think it's just a matter of time when that happens again. But like I said, like I said, as far as that, like I said, like I said, as far as that, like, as far as Rhea Ripley, like I said, she certainly has more than a handful. Like I said, of course, when it comes to just just her versus the world, as far as Nia, Raquel, Shayna, and Zoe. You know what I mean. So now there's Rhea more involved when it comes to the women, but it's going to be one versus four. You know what I mean? So so as far as that, um, and also Monday, like I said, especially considering that considering that the Monday, it was a huge Halloween episode. You know what I mean? Like they went all out, and of course, shout out to Chelsea Green and Piper Niven for their Heart Foundation costumes. You know what I mean? And of course, I call her a Piper Nightheart, because she did that at the Anvil. And the Anvil impression was right on point. It was spot on. It was hilarious. I mean, right down to the laugh. And of course, Chelsea Green dressed as Bret Hart. I mean, she had the outfit nailed to a T, especially the hair. I mean, Chelsea had that Bret Hart hair right nailed down to a science. I was like, I applaud that. I definitely appreciate that. Now, however, that Nikki Cross head was like super duper creepy. That was really bizarre. That was crazy. You know what I mean? So as far as that, and also, like I said, also several other highlights. Especially when it came to Miz. Like I said, especially when it came to that Miz TV segment where Miz had Imperium on it as guests. You know, especially now that we can see that this is a Miz babyface turn. The fact that Miz had to remind Gunther that he can be serious without having to be serious. You know what I mean? Of course, Miz had no problem. Of course, Miz had no problem naming off his credentials as far as him being a two-time WWE champion, defeating John Cena in the main event of WrestleMania, cashing in. The fact he cashed in twice, becoming a WWE champion. Of course, the first time he beat Randy Orton, and of course he went on to retain and defeat Cena in the main event of WrestleMania. And of course, second time he became champion, cash in on Drew McIntyre, and not only that, but Miz also, of course, also 8-time Intercontinental champion. Like I said, certainly one of the all-time greatest IC champions. He's certainly in that conversation, and so on and so forth. You know what I mean? But of course, Gunther is now the single longest reigning Intercontinental champion in WWE history, and so. So for a guy like Gunther to bring the serious side out of Miz, like I said, it's something. It's definitely gonna be something very special, for Miz, to turn up that knob when it comes to the seriousness. You know what I mean? So the thing about it is that even though Miz's character, like I said, can be arrogant, can be very trolling, and things like that. But at the same time, when it's time to handle business, Miz can do that. He, as a matter of fact, he's come a very very long way from, like I said, from like even the days of like Miz and Morrison and things like that. You know what I mean? Like if anything, Miz has the credentials of a first ballot Hall of Famer, and of course, all that aside, at the same time, I think that as far as the segment on Raw, Like I said, it certainly makes Miz a more credible, like I said, far more credible challenger for Gunther's, Gunther's IC title. And of course, typical Miz fashion, it was certainly hilarious. For him to go back and forth with go back and forth with Kaiser and Vinci before Gunther came out. You know what I mean? So so of course it's not Miz TV without a clapback, basically. You know what I mean? And Miz is certainly one of the all-time greatest when it comes to his mic skills. So I definitely look forward to seeing what seeing what Miz and Gunther can do. When it comes to when it comes to their chemistry in the ring. You know what I mean? And also, I like how Seth Rollins shut down Drew McIntyre when Drew was, when Drew was getting on the soapbox and complaining about the greatest moments of his career being, being in front of an empty arena with no fans and things like that. Yada, this, that, third. How he was constantly crying and complaining, and just moping and all this other stuff about how the greatest highlight of his career was a situation. Something like the greatest highlight of his career was at a time where there are no fans. And so Seth had to remind him, basically, newsflash, we were in the middle of a freaking pandemic, where people not only lost their jobs, they lost their lives. They didn't know where the next meal was coming. The fact that people, like I said, didn't know when and where the next meal was coming from. They didn't know when and where the next paycheck was coming, was going to come, and things like that. So there are people that were in real life crisis, and of course, Seth had to, Seth had to remind him, you know what I mean, and so but of course, this certainly, more so of a big face Rollins, now you pretty much say a more of a heelish Drew, you know what I mean, and so it's very uncharacteristic to see Drew be the one that was being a crybaby, sounding entitled and all this other stuff like that. You know what I mean? And so, of course, this is certainly going to be Seth's biggest challenge yet so far as champion, and pretty soon I'm going to my predictions coming up, and so I would say that those those were some of the highlights when it came to Raw. Now, when it comes of course, now when it comes to NXT, of course, for me, the biggest highlight was the NXT Championship match as Ilya Dragunov defeated Carmelo Hayes to retain the NXT Championship, and this Dragunov Melo trilogy is certainly one of NXT's greatest trilogies of all time. And at the end of the match, you see Trick Williams come out, and he picks Melo up by his arm, and so like that, of course, we still left that suspension, suspicion, as to whether or not Melo was the one that set up Trick to get attacked. But with the way Trick was looking at him, like, may know something that we don't know, things that he may have found something for himself, or whatever the case may be. So I certainly look forward to next Tuesday to see how that turns out. And I love the storytelling of NXT and how it's just like just continuing ongoing series, saga, storylines. It's almost like a Dragon Ball Z. Just when things are getting good, just when with the height of the suspense, narrator comes in and says, will Goku turn Super Saiyan? Will Trunks stop the androids and things like that? Find out more on it, find out more, on the next episode of Dragon Ball Z, things like that. So that's how NXT feels. You know what I mean? So it's certainly a testament to to Shawn Michaels' storytelling skills, and of course not only from what he did as a wrestler, but also also what he's doing as a booker, as I said time and time again. So I'm constantly giving NXT his praises, his props, and everything like that. And what I mean? So of course, like I said, of course, shout out to Dragon, and also another thing about that, of course, before I get ahead of myself, I have to mention the very obvious. Just as Trick and Mello hit that face off, the camera cuts right to Baron Corbin attacking Dragunov over the like I said, the camera cuts to Baron Corbin. Cuts to Baron Corbin attacking Dragunov behind the curtain. You know what I mean? And just as NXT is going on. So what I mean? It's just like so many different things that need to be answered. I mean, NXT has a way of just leaving you at the edge of your seat, right? And like I said, that just makes for great quality wrestling, and certainly great quality, storytelling and just entertainment in general. And I know I didn't really get to talk about this. Of course, certainly didn't get a chance to talk about it. Excuse me, did not get a chance to talk about it last week because of the interview. But I also want to congratulate Lyra Valkyrie for defeating Becky Lynch to become the new NXT Women's Champion, as Jade Cargill sat on her throne, and of course, I know Jade certainly enjoyed what she saw, and so after the match, Jade tapped the watch and said it's time. So, so of course, as the Jade turns, the Jade saga, you know what I mean. And as a matter of fact, this past Saturday, Jade went on Twitter, asking, what should her fan base, what should be the name of her fan base? You know what I mean? Like whether it's Jade's Juelz, Jaded Ones, you know what I mean? The Cargills, whatever the case may be, things like that. Jade's Army, and and whatnot. And what I mean? So it's just like of course for me, I know the wheels definitely turning. I was choosing between Jade's Juelz, the Jaded Ones, you know what I mean? Just as a play on, play on the beautiful ones, the victorious ones, something about the ones, you know what I mean? So those are my top two names. But for those that are watching right now, if you want to leave a comment as far as what you think Jay's fans should be called, feel free to leave one right here. Feel free to leave one. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm certainly looking forward to looking forward to what Jade's next move is going to be. You know what I mean? And so as far as that, and of course, I want to get of course one of the things I certainly want to do. Said, all right, I'm going to give a rundown of this weekend's card. So of course, let me see. It's a total. So it looks like it's about it's going to be a total of 8 matches, and so of course I could tell there's going to start off with Sami Zayn versus JD McDonough. And then right after that, you have Cody Rhodes versus Damian Priest. After that, you have John Cena, of course, WWE, especially Michael Cole proclaims to be the greatest of all time, versus the enforcer of the Bloodline, Solo Sikoa. Then right after that, the SmackDown Women's Championship match, Io Sky defends against Bianca Belair. Or after that, you have the WWE United States Championship match, and it's Hall of Famer legend, U.S. Champion Rey Mysterio defends against Logan Paul. After that, of course, after that, you have the undisputed WWE Universal Championship match. All three of those names, because Roman's got 3 titles. So anyway, undisputed WWE Universal Championship, Roman Reigns versus LA Knight. Of course, now you also have the Fatal 5-Way match for the Raw Women's World Championship. Rhea Ripley versus Nia Jax versus Shayna Baszler versus Zoe Starks versus Raquel Rodriguez. And then, of course, last but not least, you have the World Heavyweight Championship match. Seth freaking Rollins defends his title against Drew McIntyre. So that is the rundown of the card. And, of course, on the Saturday, November 4th at 1 p.m. So it's just like, for me, I'm not exactly the biggest fan of pay-per-views. I still call them pay-per-views. I don't care. I'm not the biggest fan of pay-per-views taking place in the middle of the day, especially on a Saturday one. For me personally, I have a whole lot of stuff to do on Saturdays, that I don't really have time to do during the week. So if anything, Saturday is my escape day. Like both Saturday and Sunday, the weekend, is my escape time. And of course, speaking of the weekend, I'm proud to say that I will be at Those Wrestling Girls 5-year anniversary celebration. Shout out to them. Shout out to Chris B and Queen PR as they celebrate 5 incredible years of great podcasts and great, just continued success and milestones and whatnot and so on. So, like I said, it's a privilege, the privilege to not only to be able to meet them, but also the fact, the privilege to know them as well. You know what I mean? So, as a matter of fact, I was at last year's event. Of course, as as an art vendor. You know what I mean? And of course, I had a fantastic time, had a great time. So I'm looking forward to having even greater time this upcoming weekend. So, like I said, congratulations. Just want to take a side note and like I said, congratulate them on 5 outstanding years and many, many more to go. So I know last year when I was on my way to New York for the 4-year anniversary, I was watching Crown Jewel on my phone, right? Obviously, and so of course I'm thinking, depending on how long it takes for me to get there, like I said, pretty much I can either I can either like watch like the early part, watch the early part of the pay-per-view on my phone, or I could go to one of the restaurants, something, and watch watch at a viewing party. You know what I mean? So and of course I've been hearing that out there in New York they have great viewing parties over there anyway. You know what I mean? So of course for me I was saying pretty much chance are chance are I could be watching I could be watching Crown Jewel at a viewing party. You know what I mean? So but either way, I know there's going to be incredible. I know it's not going to disappoint. And you know what I mean? And of course, viewing parties are always great. You know what I mean? And I certainly look forward to any opportunity. Look forward to any chance or any opportunity where I could witness a viewing party. Yeah, viewing party. Excuse me. And I know that this one's not going to be any different. And so for me, I'm going to give things freeze up a little bit. But yeah, but anyway, all right then. So sorry about that. Sorry about the connection. But yeah, like I said, as far as as far as the card, I'm going to give my predictions. So for Sammy versus JD, I have Sammy winning that match, and then for the match of Cody versus Damian, That's going to be tough. On one end, I can see Cody, but at the same time, this guy that this guy that's fighting uh, on one leg versus a fully healthy Damian Priest, who's Mr. Money in the Bank or Senior Money in the Bank, if you will. Um, so it's just like on one end, because of the fact that because of the fact that Cody's a good guy, and he's been a former tag team champion with Jay. I want to say him, but at the same time, it's definitely going to be embarrassing, on Damian's part to lose to a guy that's basically on one leg. You know what I mean? So I guess I'm going to go with the American Nightmare on this one. Then after that, you have Cena versus Solo. And so for the sake of putting the next generation over, I have Solo defeating Cena and just straight up destroying him. You know what I mean? And so in very convincing fashion. So I have Solo defeating Cena in that match. For Io versus Bianca, that's a tough one. On one end, I want to say Bianca, but at the same time, there's a part of me that thinks that Bianca may win it at Survivor Series. Especially considering the fact that's a much bigger event, even though she did lose the title at Night of Champions, at international pay-per-view. She lost to Asuka. So, I think for the sake of avenging that loss, I can see Bianca regaining the championship for this. So in this one, I'm gonna have to go with EST. For the United States Championship match, Rey Mysterio versus Logan Paul. I think it's I think it's time for a change of pace to sort of bring new life to the U.S. title. And of course, Rey Mysterio is certainly a legend. As I've said before, he's a Hall of Famer, the greatest luchador of all time. But I think that the U.S. title could use a bit of a facelift. So in that sense, I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm going to have to give it to Logan Paul, just because Logan has been earning his stripes in the ring. You know what I mean? Whenever he's in the ring, he does not disappoint. Whether it was whether it was the tag team match at WrestleMania 38 last year, it was him and Miz versus Ray and Dominic. Whether it was whether it was that one or him versus Miz, him versus Roman, especially at last year's Crown Jewel, that was absolutely that was absolutely mind blowing. Him versus Seth Rollins this year at WrestleMania 39. Him versus Ricochet. So Logan's definitely building a body of work. So I think this would be the biggest feather in his hat. This would be the biggest notch on his belt to be able to say that he has defeated a legendary figure like Rey Mysterio. So in that aspect, I can see Logan Paul becoming the new United States champion. Now, when it comes to the undisputed Universal title, certainly I have the Tribal Chief defeating LA Knight and Io. Even though LA Knight has improved, certainly improved by leaps and bounds with his interaction with Roman. I still have the Tribal Chief retain the titles, because there's no way that Roman is going. There's no way that Roman's going to lose the title. There's no way that Roman's going to lose the title at an event that's not the Big Four. You know what I mean? And there's no way that I can see Roman losing his title and no offense to somebody like LA Knight, and once again, it just goes to show that at this point, Roman is more, like I said, more and more Roman. More and more that Roman started running out of opponents, but he's going to make the most with what's given to him. So in that sense, I still have the Tribal Chief winning. When it comes to the fatal 5-way match for the Raw Women's World Championship, I'm going to go with Rhea retain the championship. And I think that this would be huge when it comes to setting up Rhea versus Becky Lynch going into WrestleMania, because that is, like I said, if anything, that's the ultimate big money match for Rhea to have. To truly prove herself, to prove her mettle, to prove, how legitimate that she can be as a champion. What better way than to defeat someone who has become an all-time great, a future first ballot Hall of Famer, someone who is in the conversation of GOATs when it comes to women's wrestling, right? If anything, whether people want to admit it or not, Becky Lynch has become a legend in her own right. So for Rhea to stand face to face, go toe to toe with Becky on the 40th anniversary of WrestleMania, that'd be perfect right there. So in that aspect, I see Rhea retain. Like I say, I see Rhea retain the championship. Even though Nia, for me, was starting to be the biggest threat out of everybody in that match. And so in that sense, I Rhea retain the championship. And then for the World Heavyweight Championship, Seth freaking Rollins versus Drew McIntyre. There's a part of me that on one end, it's very compelling to see Drew become the champion, but at the same time, it's kind of hard to beat Seth freaking Rollins, and especially considering his rise in popularity, where everybody's singing, where everybody's singing the theme to a song and whatnot. And so, even though Seth has been dealing with back problems and whatnot, but at the same time, Seth is still too big of a draw to lose like this. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I can still see a case where Drew could win. But in this aspect, because of predictions, I have Seth freaking Rollins retain the championship. So I don't see too many title changes at Crown Jewel. Possibly two. But generally speaking, for the most part, champions are going to come out, retain their titles. So those are my predictions when it comes to Crown Jewel this upcoming Saturday. And another thing that I want, of course, for me, another topic that I really want to talk about. This has been very prevalent on wrestling Twitter. You know what I mean? And just wrestling social media, where you have a side-by-side comparison of wrestlers, and of course, like you have like so, and the thing is, whoever has the most points overall ends up being the winner. So the categories will be who's better on the mic, who's better in the ring, who's a better champion, who's a better entertainer, who has more charisma, who's more the favorite, and who overall is better. We've seen that of course, recently, I've seen that with Bianca Belair versus Rhea Ripley, and so in that aspect, I would say that Bianca probably has the edge on the microphone, but of course, Rhea's no slouch in that aspect. Better in the ring, I got the EST. Better as a champion, Bianca, by far, without question. Better entertainer, BST. More charismatic, Bianca. It's more favorite, Bianca. So overall, that was just, she just straight cleared in that aspect. This time, the one, like the one that's been the most recent would have to be Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins. And so, so of course, this matchup is what was covered this past, like I said, this past Monday on Perfect Plex. Perfect Plex, as Mike and I both agreed on the final verdict. So in this aspect, of course, we have Roman Reigns, the Tribal Chief, versus Seth freaking Rollins, Mr. Visionary, Mr. Revolutionary. And of course, side note, Seth certainly reminded Drew that that this Saturday he's no longer the architect, he's no longer the Monday Messiah, that he is the revolutionary, the visionary. We all know Seth freaking Rollins, right? And so of course, we're gonna have Roman versus Seth. Of course, 2/3 of the Shield, one of the all-time greatest factions in not just WWE history, but wrestling history itself. And since they have gone their separate ways from from being the Hounds of Justice, they have carved out and established incredible Hall of Fame resumes in their own right. You know what I mean? They've established their own special legacies, their own unique legacies in their own way. So the categories in this aspect are better, better on the mic, better in the ring, better champion, better entertainer, who's more charismatic, who's your favorite, and who's better overall. So better on the mic. It's a tough one. I think just because of just because Seth just has a natural gift of gab. Pretty much I'd probably go with him. But lately, like I said, Tribal Chief Roman has been slaughtering on the mic. Like he has, especially when he's mic'd up, especially when he doesn't need a mic. Like he cuts some of the best mid-match promos ever. So in that aspect, recently, I'm happy to go with Roman. Better in the ring, come on, it's Seth Rollins. Like as far as that, as far as that, in the ring, Seth freaking Rollins, even Roman would tell you. Better champion, come on now. It's the Tribal Chief, a guy who's been a champion for 3 years. A guy who's constantly climbing the all-time ranks. When it comes to all-time greatest champions, he's certainly established a legacy himself. Like I said, when it comes to his championship reign, it's certainly reached the point of being transcendent. This is certainly a generational, historic, transcendent championship reign. We could never say that about Seth Rollins. Even though his character work is incredible, when it comes to being a champion side by side with Roman, let's be honest, he falls short. Especially for everybody who wants to say that he's got to be the one to dethrone Roman, but at the same time, his track record proves otherwise. So, even though he's a champion now, but at the same time, when we talk about someone who has a sustained run of dominance, excellence as champion, I gotta go with the Tribal Chief Roman. Better entertainer, I would have to say. This blood, I would say, when it comes to, it depends on what you look at as entertainment. Let me see this. I think because of how compelling this bloodline story is, Roman may have the edge in that, just because of all the layers of this bloodline saga. I mean, this mini series basically within WWE. I think just from the storyline standpoint, Roman may have the edge in that. When it comes to charisma, I would give it to Seth Rollins. When it comes to favorite, I would give it to Roman. When it comes to overall, I give the edge to Roman Reigns. Like so overall, when it comes to his body of work, overall when it comes to drawing power, overall when it comes to just legacy, overall when it comes to who has left a bigger imprint thus far in their respective careers, I would have to say Roman Reigns. Hence, that is why he's had 7, if not like 8. Well, actually, no. That's why he has at least like 7 WrestleMania main events. And Seth Rollins has never been in the main event of WrestleMania. You know what I mean? So as far as that, and as a matter of fact, Rollins has vented his frustrations about never being in the WrestleMania main event, even though he had the greatest cash in when he hijacked the main event of WrestleMania 31. So, we're still in spotlight from Roman, by cashing in and curb stomping Roman, and the heist of the century, as they say, right? Even though he became the talk, even though he became the talk of that WrestleMania, but at the same time he was not in the main event. He interfered in the main event, but he wasn't in the main event match. Roman has been in at least 7 main events, so that's a testament to to Roman's value, to his importance, to his value, to a testament to Roman's value, to Roman's importance, Roman's imprint, and just what he brings to the table. No pun intended to him being the head of the table, but I mean, like, results speak for themselves. You know what I mean? So if anything, overall, I would give the edge to Roman Reigns. You know what I mean? And so that was certainly a topic that if anything, that was certainly a topic that definitely want to tackle. You know what I mean? So I know that was something I've been seeing. I've been seeing like us flying in the timeline, at least for quite a while. So I mean, well, not a while, but of course, as of recently, I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead face this head on, and so of course, I certainly believe that certainly believe that I did my job in that aspect, and so I'm thinking about doing more of those, not just with current names, but you can even do current versus past names. You know what I mean? So like current stars versus legends from the past, whatever the case may be, legend versus legend. Current versus current, whatever the case may be, things like that. So, I'm just considering the idea. Like I said, for the most part, I may do an episode. I could make a post about it on social media, but I know that my next project. I know that my next project coming up, I'm going to do a series of top 25s. So of course, I'm going to start with the top 25 tag teams, and then I'm going to work my way up to like the top 25 US champions, Intercontinental champions, as well as world champions. You know what I mean? So of course, those are the things that I certainly have in the future, and of course, I want to thank everyone, who's been taking out time to support the brand. And of course, for those that are interested in the podcast merchandise, the current Roman Reigns shirt that I have up there, Roman Empire shirt is the links right here in the description. Of course, victoriousones.bigcartel.com. Once again, that's victoriousones.bigcartel.com. And so this wraps up another great episode of this podcast. Thank you very much for watching, and thank you very much thank you very much for those that listen by way of iTunes and Spotify and anywhere else that you download podcasts. And so thank you very much. And I hope that you have an incredible, amazing night.